G'day guys, and this is our underwater base location video. So here we are, first location here. Bring out the map and the GPS. Just down here in the bottom part of the map, and our GPS coordinates are 85.6 and 46.9. And what we're going to do is go straight on down. I am using a clear mod for underwater viewing, just so it's a little bit easier to see. But yeah, here we are. We'll get a little bit closer now. And our locations that we are looking for, so the proper coordinates maybe, is about 85 and 47. And what we are doing is going straight on underneath here. Now, not technically a rat hole, more of a hidden location, enough to stick down a few vacuum compartments and just hide away. So it's just a nice little spot, especially if you just want to get a few things down and hide on this map. It's probably just a nice spot to get a starter base or an underwater base location up and running before you want to move to one of these other future rat holes. And saying that, let's move on to the next location. So our next spot right here, we'll break out the GPS on the map and have a bit of a look. Still on the south part of the map, and our GPS coordinates are 83.8 and 61.5. Now we're going to go straight on down again. And I have put down a vacuum compartment so I can find it. Well, that's where I get that. Each location is just by having a vacuum compartment and a bed. But what we're looking for is this sort of rock formation. The cliffs here, and there's this little overhang right here. I don't have leave me alone on, so he's going to chase me into the hole. So this sort of cave entrance, wouldn't really call it a rat hole. We will get rid of you and you. Anyone else want to join? Thank you. Okay, so this is our location. Pretty decent. It is a decent size opening hole right here, so bear that in mind, but you've got a fair bit of room to work with. So you have plenty of room to stick down vacuum compartments and everything here. Let's go a little bit further back, so if you do wish to sort of hide back in this area, away from passers-by, so people swim past or using a dino to get past, they might see if you have a foundation or turrets in here. So by sticking it just up in here, you'll be out of those eyes and those pesky little people that want to search for your base. But saying that, we will jump on to the next spot. Okay guys, so breaking out the map and the GPS, on the location down here in the south, we are at 84.5 and 65.8. Bit of a quick look around, and we're going straight on down. So you'll first see that there's this cliff, and what we're going to do is just go straight underneath this little lip here. We do have a vacuum compartment down here already. Now if you can sort of find this brown sort of mesh wall, or the wall itself, you're very, very close. It's just over to the right here, so you can see the entrance here. It is relatively big once you get a bit closer to it. The location itself is reasonable, definitely room for solo up to duo trio. Definitely does have a bit more room to go up and higher, but it doesn't give you much room once you go higher. Apart from that, that is the location. Definitely easily to defend if you want to stick down a few turrets, a bit of a death wall per se. Bit of room here to do a bit of underwater breeding if you wanted to. Nothing big, but definitely room for some of the small things. Yeah, we'll move on to the next location. Okay, here we are guys in the next location. So having a bit of a quick look around, break out the GPS of the map location for you guys here, and our GPS 86.5 and 70.2. So what you want to do is sort of look for this natural ramp and location here between these sort of two rocks, and if you're in line with that and you go straight down, you'll be going between this little crack here, and that's our aim. So just between this little crack here, and you're right underneath the location now, and that's where we are, and that's where we want to go. So just that little hole right there. Just have a quick look around for you guys here as well, and off we go. It is reasonably sized. It is a nice small entrance, so easily to defend, and once you get in here, there's a fair bit of room to work with. So I do have a vacuum compartment down here already, but the room you're working with here is quite large. Plenty of room to put down the vacuum compartments to have all the essentials, the grinders, the indie forge, and all that stuff in between. Bit of room here to do some breeding potentially as well. would be challenging with some of the bigger dinos, but some of those smaller ones, plenty of room to work with. But yeah, not a bad little spot, this one. And we'll move on to the next location. So yet again, we're down here on the south of the map. Having a look here, and we're at 85.1 and 73.5. Now this spot, not the best location, but let's bring that GPS out just in case. Not the best location, just because it's got sort of two entrances coming on straight on down here. I should have a, yep, there we go, a vacuum compartment there. Now this is what we're looking at. Our last location was over in that direction, and yeah, so here we are. So here's our vacuum compartment. There's a little rat hole, or entrance for a rat hole, right here. Now it looks amazing, the spot location, although the further you go in, there's also another entrance up the top, and it does open up quite large. So I'd only use this spot just to dump some stuff or hide some things down, because it's relatively easy to find, but I wouldn't be using this location as a base location. In saying that, we'll move on to another spot, which will be a better base location. Okay, so we are now off the southern part of the map, just around the corner now. We'll bring out that GPS. So our GPS coordinates are 76.9 and 86.1. Now we are going to go straight on down here, and if you ever want to live in a triangle base, then this is the spot, because everything here looks just like a triangle. So just underneath this cliff here, a bit of a quick look, and we're going straight on underneath here. Now we've got our triangle entrance, quite a nice sort of tight rat hole here, enough to sort of still swim through. But yeah, this is our location, this is our base. It's quite large, it does go quite high, but everything here to me just reminds me of like a triangle based pyramid. It's pretty cool, plenty of room here to work with. Yeah, I reckon you could stick down definitely a chandelier in here as well with what's in here. Yeah, easily be able to put down a few nice things. That's probably just blocking off. That's definitely not the best location to chuck that. Let's see if we can stick it against the wall. Yeah, it's much better. So enough to stick down a few turrets hanging off that, as well as some on the ground. Plenty of stuff to work around on the bottom here, as well as sticking some stuff up the top as well. Yeah, it's definitely a huge location. Once you actually start putting some things down here and actually seeing how much things you can actually fit in here, you'll be able to fit a lot of potential in this base location, as well as defend it quite easily, because it's got a nice tight entrance hole right here. Alrighty guys, let's jump on to the next location. Okay, so checking out our next location here we are on the map, and our GPS coordinates are 69.3 and 86.3. Now this location is pretty big. It's actually quite a large rat hole, although it does have one sort of downfall. As we'll head on down here, and you've got this large overhang here of the cliff, going straight underneath, looking for this rock. Now we have our entrance here just over to the right, just above my head. That's where we're going in, and it does have a second entrance on the other side, and that's our downfall. It's got two entrance points, so if you can block up one and use one, then go for it, or you can have two sort of turret towers or turret walls, death walls, whatever you want to call it. As long as you can defend it, then by all means definitely use this location. Now let's dive on in, have a quick look at it. Quite a large opening hole here, and this is probably the main one you would use, as you'd probably defend the other one, as I'm just about to go over there and show you. So you've got plenty of room swimming around here, and it does go down quite deep. So let's go down and have a look down the bottom part of it first. Our other entrance is just there, so we'll go down here. Does go quite deep, and it's got a little bit further back here. Depends on how much you want to use and utilize. Definitely room to breed some bigger things in here for sure. Definitely room for probably a Tusa or a Mosa. But yeah, so that's our first entrance there. The other entrance is just on the other side. A bit more room here to use. Does go up a little bit higher there. Coming on up in here, and I believe the hole is just here. There we go. So the other hole is just here. So if I do swim out, and you can see that's where the vacuum compartment is, and I ended it on the other side. So that on either side of this sort of cliff face here, you've got one entrance there and one entrance right there. So if you can think of a way to utilize both entrances, or defend one and block the other one, or vice versa, then by all means definitely use this location. Alrighty, we'll go jump to the next spot. So this next location here is an absolute monster. Bringing out the map and the GPS. So our map location and our GPS is 62 and 83.1. And yeah, let's go down and check it out. So you'll come down first rung and you'll see just some of the cliff platforms here. Well, not cliff platforms, the sort of ocean that's turned into a cliff, rock formation, that's the key word I'm looking for. So underneath this first one here is where we're going. So if you see these two rocks, these sort of coral rocks, then you're in the right location. And we're looking for just this location right here underneath this sort of the spine of this rock formation. Have a quick look around and we're going on. Nothing following me. Cool. Alrighty, so it's got definitely a nice little corridor here that you can put down some turrets, put down pillars, foundation spam, just stack it full of stuff, make it hard for people to get in. The cool thing about this is it's such a huge base location. Now, just by the quick glimpse around here, you've got plenty of room to work with, and that's not all, because it does go a little bit higher. You've got a bit of room to work with up here, but just looking down here, that's what you're working with. That's why it's so big. That's why it's a monster. So we'll have a quick look around, and we're going on over the left hand side here. You've got two options here really. You can either just hide down here in one of the corners and hope no one finds you, or take over the entire place and just make it an absolute monster of a base location. You've got plenty of room to work with down here. You could probably breed, do absolutely anything, or you could have your breeding up higher and have them on aggro just in case someone enters, and have your main base down here on the ground. Like, just the room you got here to work with, and it's nice and flat down here too, which is awesome. Oh, got some piranhas after us. Okay, but yeah, the base location here is just enormous, and I think it's probably one of the better rat holes on this map to use for underwater base locations. Alrighty, let's jump on to our next location. So we're off near the floating islands here, so we'll bring out the GPS and the map. And map location here, and GPS is 53.7 and 84.0. I will show you a better GPS location once we get a little bit closer, because we've got a bit of swimming to do. Now, it's just started to rain. Alright, so we're heading on down, and what we're going to do is, where are we going? Going straight on down in here, and you can see that I'm in amongst all the coral here, the weeds. Going underneath this sort of large sort of platform here. Going on down, and our better GPS location here is 53.6 and 84.4. So what you're going to do, I've just put this down here so I can find it nice and easy, is that there's just this little hidden away location here. Not a major rat hole, more of a hidden base just because it's quite large entry. But yeah, enough to sort of stick down a couple of vacuum compartments, put down a few turrets if you wanted to, and just hide away. Apart from that, that's the location itself. Relatively easy to get to. But yeah, use it if you want to. If you don't, then hopefully you'll like one of these next spots coming up. So this next spot, it's not really a rat hole, just a nice little hidden location again. 53.1, 53.1 and 85.2, and our map location. Now, quick look, and let's head on down. So straight underneath this rock face, going all the way down to the bottom, and we're just going to go behind that rock there. Put away that, don't need those anymore. So near this bridge, following all the way down, and yeah, just in under here. So enough to sort of tuck away, hide in, and yeah, just put down a couple of little vacuum compartments. You could probably put down one or two more if you wanted to, but it might be a little bit more visible to people that go and buy. So stick with sort of what I've got here. You might be able to definitely adjust this better, but by putting down these vacuum compartments, I guess you're nice and hidden, to an extent. So if we do go further back out, people aren't really going to see you. They're only going to see you if you build further out, hopefully, or I guess swim all the way in there to find you. But apart from that, it's just a nice little hidden underwater location, and we'll move on to our next spot. So this spot here is relatively tucked away and hidden. We'll bring out the GPS and the map. Here's our map location, and our GPS is 52.2 and 82.1. Stick those away now, and we'll go on down. Just having a bit of a quick look around, and we're going on just underneath here. Just underneath, so you can sort of see where we want to go. It is got sort of two entrances if you want to look at it that way. Just under here, we'll bring out the GPS for those who want to sort of bang on location, 52.4 and 82. But yeah, you've got plenty of room to work with here. Relatively open. You've got the one entrance there, and I guess the other entrance just on the other side, with I guess the rocks here just touching, just kissing. But if you stick down your base a little bit further back here, you're out of people who are swimming past. But yeah, just another relatively open rat hole to use, though the only downfall here is those two entry locations. But if you do look at it from the outside, you can't really tell unless you're coming from I guess underneath here. You can tell that there's an entry hole there and one on the other side. But if you're just swimming past, you're probably not going to pick it. So use location if you want to, and we'll move on to the next spot. Alrighty, so this location here is quite deep down, which I guess has its perks. So our map location here, and our GPS is 38.9 and 75.2. So let's hope I can find it, because it's quite deep down. I think it's bang on, so if you look at this sort of location here, look directly on, and go straight down. Alright, a little bit further, here we go. If I back out just a tad, we can see some of the surroundings here. Now what we're aiming for is just under here, so you can see the vacuum compartment. So it's quite an open rat hole. I'd probably more call it a hidden base location, just because it's not too hard to get into. But the room you're working with here is, you know, relatively large, quite nice. But yeah, because it's quite deep, and hopefully people don't have to come past this location, this area, then you should be hidden for quite a while. But yeah, let's move on to our next location. Now, if you like snow and you like Tusos, then this is just a little hidden location that I've come across. Break out the GPS and the map. So yes, we are in the snow, nice and cold, and we're looking at 25.6 and 82.2. And we'll head on down. So yeah, there are a few Tusos down here. Go all the way down until we render in some stuff. Not the plants. I did stick down the foundation so I don't lose it. But yeah, straight underneath this big iceberg. If you can see that brown wall over there, the mesh wall, sort of directly straight on with that. So if you're in line with that, then between this little U shape, this little gap here, is where we want to go. So yeah, there are a few Tusos getting around here somewhere. So yeah, definitely build here with your own discretion, and hopefully you got a bit of protection. I say build here just because it's just it's a bit slow. You're just hiding down in here, enough to stick down a couple of vacuum compartments and hide away. And hopefully, just because of all the wild teams around here, hopefully too many people don't come this way, unless they're definitely searching for things with Tusos or in this area. But yeah, just enough to sort of stick down a couple of vacuum compartments and hide away in here. And yeah, hopefully it's not a very high trafficked area, and it'd be good. Alrighty, next spot. Ooh, now this little rat hole is pretty good. I do like this one. Just a quick look around our area, break out the GPS and the map. So map location up the top here, and GPS is 16.3 and 73.8. So let's go straight on down. So I've shown a similar location to this before, but more in relation to the Ragnarok map. I do have a location similar to this on Rag, and I've used it before, and I've also sort of shown a semi sort of base build that you can do with this sort of location, just because of how it's sort of designed. So just a quick look around, straight down here, and if you go all the way down to the ground, and you find this singular sort of bit of seaweed by itself, that's where you want to go. Have a quick look around, and we're going straight on underneath here. It's a bit slow. So quite a tight entry here. You can definitely fill this up with a few turrets, a bit of foundation spam, pillar spam, whatever you wish to put down here. But the space that you're working with down in here is huge. Plenty of room to do a bit of breeding, plenty of room to put down a nice base. It does go up in here a little bit, but just to show how much room we're working with. And we'll go a few higher. So these are SS, but like, this is the room you work with. It's huge in here, so you'll be able to definitely put down a few things to breed, and definitely a nice size base. So definitely one of the better rat holes for this map, and highly recommended and highly suggested that if you were to build underwater on this map, then use this one. Alrighty, we'll jump onto another location, guys. Now this spot here is very small and enough to probably put down sort of one vacuum compartment, but I more so utilise it as sort of a little hidden dumping station to put down things. So 22.0 and 17.4 is what we're looking at for the coordinates. So over here, red forest, and we're going to go straight on down. So just between these gaps here and the rocks, my vacuum compartment, just so I can find the location, spawning. But it's just this nice little tight rat hole right here, so enough to stick down maybe a vacuum compartment. Let's stick one in here. So enough to stick down one or two of these in here. It will be relatively hidden. It's pretty tight in there, and hopefully not too many people are going to come past this direction. But by saying that, you know, sticking down a few things in here. Let's open it up. And we will drain the water. No, we won't. Yeah, so just a nice little rat hole. You can stick down a few storage compartments and containers in here, and just a nice little location to hide some decent loot. And probably most of the time, no one's going to find this spot, just because who really uses the underwater and who really builds underwater bases? Me personally, I love the underwater and love building underwater bases, so there are going to be a small percentage of us out there that like the underwater locations. But if you know some of these little tricky hidden locations like this, then by all means utilise them to your extent. They're a strength, so go for it. Alrighty, when we'll move on to our lucky last location for this map. Alrighty, so our last little rat hole hidden base location, and honestly not the best location to finish off with, but a location nonetheless. We have a location up here on top left, and their GPS coordinates are 16.6 and 16.8. And we'll head on straight on and underneath, going down, and as soon as you can sort of see this sort of brown formation for the rocks, that's where we're going to head. Now the location itself, it's only got this one little entrance here. Now you can probably put down a few turrets, but honestly I don't think anyone's really going to find this location unless they really know of it. And coming up in here, and you're working with this area itself, so enough hopefully to stick down. Is that going to fit? Give you enough room in it? No, it's not. So maybe even sticking down a few foundations and playing around with that. But ideally all you need to do is stick down a few vacuum compartments, and it's going to be a bit glitchy, but as long as you can stick down one or two of these, I guess you've got a base, don't you? we want to drain all that's connected. So yeah, once you can stick down a couple of these, then you have a base, stick down a few turrets, and away you go, because you'll be able to stick down a few more of these, and you've got a nice little base, and you'll be able to put down a few ladders or just like little jumps on workbenches and stuff to get up and around the base itself. But we can drain all that's connected, and yeah, we can open it all up. Let me just bear with you there. Drain all that's connected. So now we have a nice little area to run around, and if you can build in a rat hole, it's really small, 1x1 or 1x2 sort of location for foundations, then this here you'll be able to do wonders with. It's got a fair bit of room once you think about it, and once you know how to use unofficial I guess proportions of meshing and things like that. So yeah, our last location, guys. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching. If you enjoy the content, make sure you like and subscribe. It means a lot and lets me know that you like the content that I make, and I'll try to keep you up to date with anything else that I come across or find in the near future. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video.